Welcome to today's story. Get ready for a fun adventure about a clumsy knight and a monster that hides an unexpected secret.
The Knight and the Musician Wolf. Sir Gregory was not the bravest knight in the kingdom. In fact, he wasn't even on the list of top 100 most courageous knights. If he was being completely honest, he was probably on the list of knights most likely to trip over their own swords. But when the king declared that whoever defeated the terrifying beast of Black Peak would be rewarded with a lifetime supply of gold and pastries, Gregory saw his chance. He had never been particularly skilled with a sword, but he was very skilled at eating pastries, and that had to count for something. So, with a slightly rusty sword, a dented helmet, and a heart full of questionable confidence, he rode up the mountain, ready to face the beast on his way up. He passed through a small village at the base of the mountain. The villagers gasped when they saw his shining, slightly dusty armor. "You're going to fight him?" an old woman whispered, clutching her apron. Gregory straightened his shoulders. "That's right," he said. "Sir Gregory, at your service." The villagers exchanged uneasy glances. Then a bearded man stepped forward. "You don't know what you're up against, lad. The terrifying beast of Black Peak is not just any monster. It's the wolf that breathes fire." Gregory frowned. "Wolves don't breathe fire." "This one does," another villager chimed in. "Oh, yes," an elderly man said, stroking his beard. "Many years ago, he used to be in a traveling circus. He performed as the scary fire wolf, spitting flames into the night sky. The crowds loved him." A young girl nodded eagerly. "But one day he got tired of the circus life and ran away to the mountains. And that's when everything changed." The villagers leaned in, lowering their voices. "They say he burned down entire villages with a single breath. His howl can make trees burst into flames. He once roasted an entire herd of sheep by accident." But then the old woman shivered and added, "The worst part isn't the fire." Gregory gulped. "It's not." "No," she shook her head. "It's the sound." The villagers nodded grimly. "Every night, when the wind is still, the beast howls a chilling, unearthly wail. People who have heard it say it's so horrible it makes your ears bleed. One man said his teeth fell out just from hearing it." Gregory's eyes widened. "Wait, so nobody has actually seen the wolf making this sound?" The villagers all shook their heads. "Oh no, we all run away before it gets too close." Gregory wasn't sure what to think, but he had already come this far. He gulped and continued up the mountain, gripping his sword just a little bit tighter. When he finally reached the cave, he took a deep breath, stood tall, and shouted, "Foul creature, prepare to meet your doom." Silence. Gregory cleared his throat and tried again. "I said." A long, painful screech echoed from inside the cave. It sounded like a goose being stepped on. No, like 10 geese being stepped on by an ogre. Gregory dropped his sword. What in the name of the kingdom was that? "Ugh, what is it now?" A deep, groggy voice grumbled. A massive wolf shuffled out of the cave, a violin tucked under his arm. He looked less like a terrifying monster and more like someone who had just been rudely interrupted in the middle of a dramatic solo. "Are you serious?" the wolf yawned. "Another night? What do you people want?" Gregory blinked. "Wait, was that noise you?" The wolf frowned. "Yes." Gregory stared. "That wasn't a howl of doom." The wolf rolled his eyes. "No, it was Bach." Gregory rubbed his ears. "Bach needs to rethink some life choices." The wolf sighed. "Look, I haven't scared anyone in years. I retired. I'm a musician now. I just want to practice my violin in peace. But no, every few weeks some knight shows up yelling about doom and destiny." Gregory frowned. So you don't breathe fire? The wolf waved a paw. That was just a circus trick. Special powder. Lots of drama, very showbiz. But the legends say, oh please. The wolf flopped down on a rock. One time I sneezed near a torch, and suddenly people thought I was setting entire villages on fire. Gregory scratched his head. And you never howled mysteriously in the night? I tune my violin at night. Same thing if you have bad hearing. Gregory stared at him. So let me get this straight. The horrifying screech that sent knights fleeing in terror was just you practicing. The wolf's tail wagged. I know. Imagine how good I'll be once I get the hang of it. Gregory took a deep breath. So what do I tell the king? The wolf thought for a moment. Then, with a mischievous grin, he whispered, tell him you defeated me. I'll even play something extra terrible, so it sounds like a battle. You get your reward, and I get to practice in peace. Deal? Gregory grinned. Deal. That evening, as Gregory rode down the mountain, the villagers heard a terrible wailing screech. It's happening, someone shouted. The firewolf is fighting for his life. The villagers covered their ears as the sound of a very bad violin echoed through the valley. To them, it was the most horrifying battle cry in history. But to Gregory, it was the sweet sound of free pastries. And so, Sir Gregory returned to the castle, victorious. The king threw a grand feast in his honor. Songs were written about the brave knight who defeated the fire-breathing wolf, a tale that would be passed down for generations. Meanwhile, up on Black Peak, the real monster happily continued his violin practice. And every time the wind carried that ungodly noise down to the village, the legend only grew stronger. They say if you climb Black Peak on a quiet night, you can still hear the horrifying, ghostly wails of the defeated beast. But in reality, it's just a very passionate wolf trying to master the violin. The end.
Thanks for your company. Like and subscribe for more stories.